Good morning, everyone. My name is Lloyd. I head up Public and Government Affairs at AAA Northeast in Providence, although I'm in the comfort of my own home today, as many of you are as well. We're here today to talk about an important law that's been law for quite some time in Rhode Island. It's the Slow Down, Move Over law. And we know that it was passed in 2009, I believe, excuse me. And we know that it was enhanced in 2014. So let me stop for a minute and ask everyone who's on the call now, if you can please mute your phone, your microphone, and that'll make it easier for all our speakers to go forward. So a little bit about the Slow Down, Move Over law. The law was first passed in Georgia in 1996 when a paramedic was hit and killed at the scene of a crash. And since then, state by state, they've been passing slow down, move over laws. At first, they were all about the blue lights of a police cruiser and the red lights of a fire truck. But more recently, they've added tow trucks and also vehicles that you see from the Department of Transportation, for example, in terms of work zone safety. So we're very happy to see that we have the law in all 50 states. And we are up against, I think, next Saturday, the 17th, is the official National Move Over Day. We thought we would highlight the issue a few days ahead of that because we're heading into a busy holiday weekend and reminding motorists, we can never do it often enough, that their responsibility when you see a blue, red, or amber light on a vehicle at the side of the road, it is their responsibility to slow down and, if possible, move over into the next lane to give wider berth to the emergency folks. It's all about helping them help us in these emergency situations. So again, the law was passed in 2009 in Rhode Island. It was enhanced in 2014. And our hope is that people are complying day in and day out with this very important traffic safety law. We have convened 3 speakers this morning to give us their perspectives. And these are 3 leaders in the traffic safety and law enforcement community in Rhode Island. And we're going to hear first this morning from Colonel James Manni. The Colonel is the Superintendent of the State Police in Rhode Island. He is the Director of Public Safety for the state. He has a long history of law enforcement experience, serving in the Rhode Island State Police for many years, whereupon he retired and became the town manager of my hometown in Narragansett. But he was called back into public service by Governor Raimondo, I believe it's about 1.5 years ago now, and he has been our colonel leading the charge with the state police since that time. So let me turn it over now to Colonel James Manni of the State Police.
Thank you very much, Lloyd. I appreciate that introduction. You and I have worked along with the Rhode Island DOT for a long time to emphasize and to send the message of what you're talking about right now. The Rhode Island State Police, along with all our local police officers in all the municipalities across the state, the tow companies, the Rhode Island DOT, the construction companies, they're all putting themselves in harm's way every day to protect our state, to keep our communities safe, and to help all our fellow citizens of this beautiful state. Rhode Island's Move Over law requires that if you see an emergency vehicle, such as a police car or a tow vehicle or a construction vehicle, with its lights on, pulled over on the side of the roadway, you must slow down, giving as much room to the emergency vehicle as safely possible, and continue at a reduced speed until you have passed. If you're on a roadway with just 2 lanes of traffic in each direction, you must move your vehicle into the lane furthest from the emergency vehicle. There are some statistics that I'll share with you today that are extremely important and will emphasize why this law was passed. In 2019, 41 law enforcement officers across the United States were killed as a result of motor vehicle accidents. From 2016 to present, the Rhode Island State Police alone handled 77 motor vehicle accidents involving emergency vehicles. During that same time frame, 2016 to present, the Rhode Island State Police has issued over 1,900 move-over violations to motorists across the state. In November of 2019, the Rhode Island State Police, in partnership with Rhode Island DOT, which we could not have done this without them, formed a traffic safety unit. This unit is comprised of several non-commissioned officers, corporals and sergeants, as well as troopers. Excuse me. That are assigned specifically for impaired driving, distracted driving, texting and driving, and DUIs. They've done a phenomenal job over the past, since the past year. They've issued nearly 5,000 motor vehicle summonses, made 442 arrests, investigated 209 motor vehicle accidents on our roadways. 850 plus standardized field sobriety tests were administered by this one unit. 400 portable breath tests. 133 suspects were charged with DUI. Very important unit. And once again, we're very thankful to Director Alviti for assisting us and Gaby for getting us the much needed funding to form this unit. If you don't think this has a tremendous impact on local law enforcement, I'll just give you a couple of quick incidents that have occurred since I've been the superintendent that have left a tremendous impact on me. In April of 2019, I attended the funeral of a Maine State trooper, young trooper, that was killed while he was assisting a disabled motor vehicle on a highway in Maine, and a tractor trailer lost a wheel because it was too close to the trooper, and the wheel struck and killed that trooper. Just a few days ago, October 5th at 10 p.m., a Rhode Island State trooper was handling a motor vehicle accident on Route 95 North in the city of Providence. While he was handling that accident, he was struck from the rear by someone that was distracted. They were texting and driving. Luckily, that trooper had received minor injuries. He's on the mend. The message is this: our lives, law enforcement, tow truck operators, DOT, construction workers, our lives depend on it. And I'm asking everyone to please help those that protect you. Just slow down and move over. It's the law. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd.
All right, Colonel, thank you very much for that. Our next speaker is Director Peter Alviti of the Rhode Island Department of Transportation. Now, Peter's got a long history of work in civil engineering. And in 2014, upon the election of Governor Raimondo, he was brought on to head up DOT and has done really phenomenal work, both on the construction side, but also on the Office on Highway Safety. So he's got a tandem approach here to getting the job done, and does it very well. So we've asked him here today to talk about the work zone safety issues and the slow down move over bill in general. So let me turn it over to you, Peter. Peter, you're muted. There you
Here we go. Thanks, Lloyd. Following up on what the Colonel was saying, slow down and move over law is law, right? And everybody should comply. But even more than being law, it's very easy and simple to do. And it doesn't take much time out of anybody's day. And I'm here and everybody else is here to help everybody remember to obey that law. Rhode Island passed a law in 2008 to protect first responders, the police, fire, and EMTs who arrive at the scenes and have to deal with horrific kinds of situations. The law was expanded in 2014 to include other types of workers, construction and highway maintenance workers. Here at DOT, we're grateful for this law. It codifies a simple and decent kind of behavior that all drivers should demonstrate, with or without the legal enforcement. We all know that it's annoying when you're in a hurry to get to where you're going, and you see that there's a police car parked along the side of the shoulder, or you come up to a construction work zone that you weren't really expecting. And the natural inclination for many people is just a zip by. But that quick zip could cost somebody their life and limb. As the colonel said, as recent as last night. So the law triggers something in the back of our mind that tells us just move the heck over. Just give people the room that they need to do their jobs. An analogy that I've used many times that I think creates a very vivid image, I'm hoping, for many people, is that the highways are actually the workplace for many people. The state police, the police departments, our construction workers. It's akin to many of us work in offices, and think of sitting in your office at your desk and having a car or a tractor trailer truck go by within inches of your desk at 60, 70 miles an hour. It's a pretty frightening thought, but that's the condition that these workers are in every day of their lives. Since the COVID pandemic started, we did see an initial remarkable drop in the number of cars and trucks on the road. It's come back quite a bit now, especially on our highways. But the reduced traffic also encouraged some people to speed a little faster than they normally drive because there's more room. And to be frank, some drivers may be taking out some of the frustrations of being cooped up for too long on the highway. And this puts our first responders and our road construction workers at even greater risk. I'm asking you today to slow down and move over. When you see those good people doing what they do, they're doing it for you. So do your part to get them home safely to their families, just like we're trying to do for you every day at DOT. Safety is a core value here at DOT. It's the goal of every construction project, every program, and every initiative that we do. And we're doing a lot to make our roads safe. You see all the construction going on. It's aimed at making our roads safe to drive on. But we also put millions of dollars and as much effort into trying to help people get in the game with us. We need you to be there with us and behave in ways that keep others safe. Slide over one more lane, if you can, and give the people doing their jobs as much room as they need in order to feel safe and work safely. We owe that to them because all of them that are out there are working to keep you safe. Thanks, Lloyd.
Director, thank you for those good comments, excellent comments, and I appreciate it. Last but certainly not least, we have Chief Sid Wordell. Sid was a patrolman for many years. He ended up as the chief of the Little Compton Municipal Police Department, and upon his retirement, took over as the executive director of the Police Chiefs Association here in Rhode Island. Does a lot of advocating and doing a lot of good work for the men and women of blue across the state and municipal departments. And clearly he has a perspective from his many years of what it's like, as you described, Peter, with cars driving by at 60, 70 miles an hour, 3 feet from your person. So with that, let me turn it over to Chief Wordell.
Thank you, Lloyd. And thank you, Director Alviti and Colonel Manni, for your leadership, in the state of Rhode Island, and especially in highway safety, and certainly our working with Lloyd with AAA. We all know the teamwork that needs to go into keeping our highways safe. So thank you for having me today. My name is Sid Wordell. I am the Executive Director of the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association. One of our key components to the work that the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association does is to support the positive public safety policy and legislation throughout the state. And the Slow Down, Move Over campaign is a perfect example of an initiative that makes our roadways and communities safer. So it's my pleasure to speak to you on behalf of the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association here today. When we think about situations where a police officer could be struck by a passing vehicle, we often think of an officer standing outside of a vehicle, speaking to a motorist that they've just pulled over. An example clearly just given by Colonel Manni. These are instances we see most commonly on the news or read about online. But at the municipal level, officers are responsible for a wide range of police details that see them standing over roadways amidst hundreds of cars passing them on a daily basis. This includes overseeing roadway construction projects where normal lanes are narrowed and shifted. These also officers provide details for parades and other community events. Anytime a police officer is asked to do his or her duties in such a fashion, they're at risk of potentially serious bodily injury as a result of being struck by a motorist. It's something we see far too often, but the risk is not only to police officers, as you heard the director say and the colonel say, but EMS and our fire personnel, along with tow truck operators and their crews, are also vulnerable. So this is why the Slow Down, Move Over campaign is such an important public safety initiative that we're proud to support. Now more important than ever for drivers to be aware of officers and public safety personnel who might be in their path. As distracted driving is on the rise, even a motorist looking down at their phone, who may inadvertently slow down 5 or 10 miles per hour, can also cause a distraction on the road for others. So we implore all residents and operators to be on the lookout for police officers who might be standing in the roadway while performing their duties, whether it's on a small side street in their local neighborhood or one of the many highways throughout the state. Our strongest message is when approaching a construction zone or emergency personnel, move over to an open lane as soon as possible. Be sure to pay close attention to vehicles and workers around you and to signs or personnel that may be guiding that traffic. Highway safety is a partnership. It includes the state and local police, we know that. It includes RIDOT, the Office of Highway Safety, and NHTSA. It includes our EMS personnel and fire, as we said, and tow truck operators. But there's one part to that partnership that probably is more important than all others, because on a daily basis, law enforcement knows what they need to do. But that partner is you, the driving public. So we ask that you do your part, you recognize what's going on around you, and be safe on our roadways. I just want to say thank you to the Northeast chapter at AAA. Mr. Albert, it's a pleasure working with you. And thank you to the state DOT, NHTSA, and of course, Colonel Manni for working with us on this important project.
Thank you so much. Appreciate those comments. And you know, you talked about partnership a minute or two ago, and you look around in the call today, for example, we have Chief Sullivan from Lincoln, we have Chief Johnson from Richmond, we have the former Colonel of the State Police, Stephen Perry, now heads up the Department of Public Safety in Providence. I mean, everyone's kind of rowing in the same direction. And it reminds me of this meeting we had this morning of the Traffic Safety Coalition. Many of the folks are on the call here this morning, all doing what they can to make a difference. And again, the timeliness of this message, we have Move Over Day coming up on the 17th. We have a busy holiday weekend coming up as well. And this was a good time to talk about this very message. You all said it so clearly. Slow down and move over. It's the law. Which reminds me, we did a public service announcement with Colonel Manni about a year or so ago, and that ran on television, on cable television, and social media. And again, just driving home the point that you can't be too careful when you have emergency vehicles on the side of the road. So gentlemen, thank you so much for articulating and amplifying this message so clearly today as you've done. I'm going to open it up now. If anyone by chance has any questions, I know we have some members of the media on the call here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and fire away. And if not, again, Colonel Manni said it a while ago, 41 first responders lost their lives last year on America's highways. That's 41 people too many. He made a very salient point there. And we can all make a difference by just going out there and doing the right thing and complying with state law. So folks, again, if anyone has any questions, you can certainly call me or any of these individuals at their offices, and they'll give you more perspective on the traffic safety implications of slow down, move over. Can't thank you enough, all of you, for signing on this morning. It's a new virtual world, as we all know, and it's working somewhat well. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Please stay safe out there and have a good holiday weekend.